Okay, I'm going to talk about something that's on my mind. It happened during this auction sale or after the sale. And, I just brushed it off, but it's been bothering me. Uh, After the sale had pretty much concluded and people were loading stuff up and hauling it out, we were over by the motorcycle getting that ready to leave. And not too far away was a spot where there's a bunch of stuff. My brother had bought like an old school desk, a really old school desk. The kind you're supposed to get under in case of a nuclear attack. But a real old one that was in real nice shape. And I think it was that and a stool and a chair and some egg baskets. It was a conglomeration of stuff. And so we're walking over there, and there was a woman loading stuff up over there, so we're waiting to be able to put the pickup over there to load the stuff. And as we walk over there, this woman starts pulling out, and my brother notices the desk that he bought is in the back of her pickup. So he bangs on the window, she stops. He said, "I think you got my desk." Well, she gets really flustered. Well, it turned out she had taken a few other things too that he had bought. A stool and stuff like that. And instead of saying, "Oh, I'm, just apologizing," and she got really pissy about it. And she said, "I'm not that kind of person." Well, the truth is, she was exactly that kind of person. And I did hear later that a lot of people's stuff kind of mysteriously disappeared. And it makes me think now that probably should have talked to the auctioneer and had him kind of look over what she was taking out of there. Because I think she was taking other people's stuff. But we unloaded it, and she took off, but probably should have said something to the auctioneer because she had a whole load of stuff, and we know some of that wasn't hers. But it was a weird deal. But that she got real defensive right away, and not in a accidental kind of way, but claim she wasn't that kind of person. But she was that kind of person. Something like that. A lot of times the stuff is in a pile, and you're bidding on it, and you're looking at the thing that you're buying. Somebody else is looking at something, and they're bidding on that pile for that thing. Because I know in that pile there was an office chair that another guy was bidding on, and then my brother sold him that chair after he had got the bid for like $5 because he wasn't looking for that chair. And that happens all the time at auctions. The person that you're bidding up against, they want something completely different from what you want. And after the bid, it isn't uncommon to make a deal on the stuff. But this woman just seemed to be picking up anything that was handy, But real pissy about it. But it's a funny thing. Like say, there was a pile of stuff that I bid up to like $15 on because in this pile was a new Bowman double bit axe handle, 36-inch. I bid it up to maybe like $15. It's maybe a $20 handle. And it was a new one, so I thought, okay, yeah, I'm going to pay that for, I don't need one at the moment. I got a couple of spares. but I like those Bowman handles. And the funny thing was, at the end of the sale, when everything was being pulled out here, the last thing sitting on that hay rack was that double axe handle. Well, I wasn't going to take it. It isn't mine, you know. But this woman seemed to think that, you know, anything that if somebody hadn't walked off with it, it was hers. It was weird. It just disturbs me when I see people, you know, and then to defend herself saying, you know, I'm real, you know, I put all my stuff in a pile and then watch that pile. This one I ended up with 2 piles because I bought all them nails and I wasn't going to lug them a long ways away, so I put them under the hay rack. But then out of my corner of my eye, I was always watching to make sure nobody was taking stuff out of it. People are dishonest if you give them a chance. It's kind of funny. You know, you give them any leeway at all. But it's like these people on these election commissions, they're the first people to start farting around with the votes. You know, it's weird. I mean, they keep, you know, for this totally legitimate election, I don't know why they keep finding all these people who were working on the election that were guilty of voter fraud. Honestly, you know, honesty is a very thin skin that people like to believe they're honest, but they aren't. Give them a chance. They will take stuff. Man, that's off my mind now. But wait, today now I got something coming in the mail. You know, I was trying to figure out a way of tagging, you know, like say this is a rebuilt carburetor, and I wanted to get tags to put on the carburetor so that I know what jets are in it, what slide, you know, this sort of thing. Well, I was able to find somebody online on eBay that was selling those manila, you know, those rectangular manila with a reinforcing and wire. Because a paper one or a string tag is going to get lost, but those big heavy manila ones, they look good. So I ordered a couple hundred of them. Because I have parts a lot of times, you know, like carburetors, or like I know up here I've got a swing arm that I rebuilt. I've got a whole front end of a bike over here that I rebuilt. It'd be nice to be able to keep the organized of what it came off of and what was done to it, you know. So, and a lot of times I know the original part numbers. You know, I have a book that has the original part numbers. I can put that on the thing, you know. So I'll probably give like 50 of them to my brother because he could use them too. But they're a nice thing to have. It's nice to have a tag on things so you remember what it came off of or what you put in it. Like I say, like there's many different slides and stuff. You hate to have to keep taking the carburetor apart to try to remember what was in there. So that was a good find. And they were cheap. You know, you get like 100 of them for $5 or something. You know, it's crazy. So I can get stuff a little more organized, though it doesn't really look like it. Another thing I was thinking, you know, the other day, they're going to have a presidential debate coming up in June, I think it is. No, I don't see how they could possibly do this with Biden in the condition that he's in. This is going to be, well, it's impossible, really. I mean, where he accepted this challenge, they had a 14-second clip of him saying, "Oh, he would bring it on," you know. But in this 14-second clip, they had made like 5 jump cuts in this clip. He couldn't say what he was going to say in a straight 14 seconds. You know, they had to do a hell of a production on this thing, you know, to get it to sound sensible. So I think they have to know that he's not capable of carrying on a debate. You know, like even when he ran last time in the first debate where he had a wire, You know, in that one where you see the wire running up his sleeve to his earpiece. I don't see how they can possibly, you know, they got him through that State of the Union with some kind of miracle juice, but I don't think there's enough stuff that you can pump into him to make him lucid for a whole debate. You know, that isn't going to happen. So my fear is, you know, they're still talking that, oh yeah, he's going to debate. It's kind of a horseshit deal because it isn't, you know, like in a normal debate, Kennedy would be up there too, but he isn't going to be because this is a special kind of debate just between him and Trump that they're doing on the side with some news organization. It isn't the regular debate that's held at, you know. So something's got to happen before that debate comes up. You know, it's got to be well, like they did demand that there couldn't be a live audience there because, of course, he got booed and they can't handle that. So it's going to be a tape thing, but if it's, or, you know, if it's done live, it's going to be an absolute disaster. You know, they've got to be able to edit anything he does or says. They have to be able to edit it. They can't do stuff live with him. Things go horribly wrong. So I'm afraid they're going to have to come up with some, you know, another pandemic thing, or maybe start World War III. Well, it's already started, but maybe finally get involved, you know. I don't know how else. They're going to have to come up with some really horrendous excuse that he can't do this debate because he's just not competent to do it. I don't know, but I worry that something's going to come up, something big time will have to happen before that. You know, like they're already talking that they'd like to do, you know, his campaign, you know, a virtual campaign like he did before in the basement. You know, that worked out well for him. But if they actually bring him out in public live, that's going to be horrible. I mean, it was embarrassing to watch. Just every time you see him, it's embarrassing. But that's going to completely blow it. So they're going to have to, maybe before this debate, pull him out and stick Newsom in, if they can, or something like that, because there's no way he can do this. But like I say, they did for the State of the Union. They managed to puppeteer him into that thing, but boy, I don't know how they could do a debate. You know, no teleprompter, you know, and people are going to be watching to see if he's got an earpiece in, though I think they can implant things like that, because he can't do this on his own. There's no possible way. Though, you know, it's going to be, I think, CNN is one of the moderators for this debate, and some other news organization, and they're covering for him as much as they can, but there's a limit, you know, and I think they're going to reach that limit. Well, it's even like this thing over in Ukraine where, you know, Zelensky, his actual term of presidency is up any day now. They don't dare have elections. But people are getting ready to revolt there. Somebody's going to take him out. You know, and it ain't going to be the Russians. It's going to be the Ukrainian. It's about damn time they do, too. I mean, that's well overdue. Or we'll take him out if we can find somebody else that we think would be a more subservient to us. It does surprise me, though, just how crooked people are. But that bugged me, you know, when I thought about it. And the woman saying, I'm not that kind of person. That's exactly the kind of person she was. But I do think, now, thinking back on it, I should have actually said something to the auctioneer and had him look through what she was taking out of there, because I'm afraid she took some stuff. Well, she was trying to take my brother's stuff, so I'm sure she took other people's stuff. And I did hear that stuff went gone, and that it's not unusual. But this was so silly because, I mean, the stuff was going so cheap. If you actually wanted it, it wouldn't have cost you a fortune to get it. But she was just trying to take advantage of the confusion and quick load stuff and get it out of there before anybody noticed. But she got real pissy being quartered on that. You do have to watch your stuff at places like that, but you don't really think something like a school desk, you don't walk off, or you don't think that you accidentally bought this thing. I mean, it can happen, but I think that was a purposeful thing. I think she was just trying to take advantage of the confusion. But I think that's in this coming election season, there's going to be a lot of people taking advantage of the confusion. But it is amazing how many of these election officials now get charged, though, they do claim this was the most legitimate election. But they keep on catching these people that were doing stuff, and they always seem to be Democrats. But they have no qualms about making fake ballots or destroying actual ballots and stuff. There's just no ethics involved in anything anymore. I just got to quit dealing with people. Most of the time people are straight with you, especially around here. And I don't know where this woman was from, but that's a pretty slippery deal. I should have paid more attention as to who bought that pile of junk with the axe handle. I could have went back and made a deal for that axe handle for like $10 or something. But there was so much going on, trying to keep a track of what was being sold, and so you miss out on some things. It's just the way it works. But it was just disturbing to see that handle lay there after the sale. And even there was a couple of rolls of, people use it for snow fence, but it was like corn cribbing where it's like laths that are wired together. There's a couple of rolls of that. They were mixed in with rolls of wire. Somebody bought the wire, and then after the sale, here, all that corn cribbing laid. They didn't take that. And I would have thought that would have been more valuable than the wire. People disgust me sometimes, very much. And that woman, I was pretty disgusted with her. But I probably should have said something to the auctioneer. But after we got my brother's stuff out of her vehicle, there was like 3 things that she had taken. She boogied out of there pretty quick. So I imagine there was more stuff in there. Oh, well, hopefully that's off my mind now. But keep your eyes peeled on what goes on before this supposed debate. Because I think we're going to have something big happen. Because if they could really get us into war, that's kind of always the last resort. But if we actually... we've got boots on the ground now, but if we actually get into a part where we can't deny it anymore, then maybe he could claim, it's having an election would be a national security. Be like the Zelensky, where he claims that, no, we're under martial law. Maybe they'll try to put us under martial law. Or get another pandemic of some sort going. They've been edging that way now, where they're coming out with vaccines that they want you to take. They kind of lost money now on this COVID. They made a fortune on COVID, but people aren't falling for this again. So now they're going to come up with some new mysterious pandemic. Could be with this bird flu, some kind of avian thing. But they already have a vaccine for it. They don't know what it is, but they already have a vaccine ready to go because they want to make more money. Them drug companies do like to make money. But I thought that's interesting when you have a vaccine for something that does not exist yet. It's like when they were trying to get people to take these flu shots all the time, where the flu naturally mutates, so you're always behind it. You're always vaccinating for last year's or the year before. It's never for the current one because it's already modified itself enough that the vaccine would be ineffectual. But the whole scheme of that annual flu shot deal was to get you used to taking vaccines regularly. So they come up with this new one that's going to save you from something that isn't there yet, but keep you scared and keep you buying medicines. Solutions for the problem that does not exist yet. Yeah. Because they're kind of falling apart on their whole story with this COVID thing. The claims that they made when they first came out with this vaccine, was all made up bullshit, and now it's all coming to light. So it's going to be a little harder to fool people, but there are people who are itching to be fooled, so there are people who will line up for this latest vaccine for the thing that does not exist yet. But it won't be me. I have never had a flu shot. Never will. All those pharmaceutical companies can just go bankrupt as far as I'm concerned. That's an evil bunch.